Welcome back to the Brew Nub channel. I'm Mike.
And I'm Joey.
And with spooky season right around the corner, we thought it'd be the perfect opportunity to brew this 1 gallon Smashing Pumpkin Extract Kit from Northern Brewer. So whether you enjoy pumpkin ales or you have a Halloween party coming up where you're trying to impress a couple of friends, sit back, relax, and we'll show you how it's done.
Today we're doing a Smashing Pumpkin brew from Northern Brewers, and it brings your Smashing Pumpkin ale grains, 1.5 pounds of gold liquid malt extract, 3.5 grams of Cascade hops, American Ale Dry Yeast, 1/4 teaspoon of pumpkin pie spices, Fizz Drops, and your cheesecloth, the brewer's do-rag. So on today's episode, we're going to need a few things. We're going to need a measuring container, a stock pot, hop spider, a funnel, and this one has a strainer in it, a thermometer, and 2 gallons of water.
What we'll also need is an airlock, a spray bottle for easy sanitation, a mixing spoon, and something to ferment in. So before we start the steeping process, we're going to take 1.5 gallons of water and bring it between 150 and 160 degrees Fahrenheit. Now for you new brewers out there, you may be wondering why we're doing 1.5 gallons of water if this is a 1 gallon kit. As the brew goes on, you're going to end up losing a little bit of liquid due to evaporation. So if you use 1.5 gallons, by the end of the brew, you're going to hit around that 1 gallon mark. So to start the steeping process, we're going to first start off by getting our empty box. We're going to get our specialty grains, the cheesecloth, a toothpick, and scissors to cut open the specialty grain. So let's start off by cutting these open. And then we're going to open up our cheesecloth so that it's easy to pour. And then we're going to do it over our empty box so that we're making sure that we're not making a mess everywhere. So now we could kind of move the grains around, get them breathing, get them moving, tie them up. And to make sure that we're not digging these out, we're going to place these in and use our toothpick to hold it off to the side. Now what these specialty grains are going to do, they're going to add body, aroma, flavor, and color. And we're going to want to have these sit for 10 minutes. Make sure though, during that 10 minutes, you're checking the temperature range. It's okay if it goes over a little bit, but if it gets a little too excessive up there, you're going to have issues with releasing unwanted tannins, which is going to make your beer have an off flavor. So once that's steeped for 10 minutes, we're going to show you the next step. All right, so you steep the grain for 10 minutes. So what we're going to do is we're going to move these out. We're going to let these drip. Make sure you're not squeezing because that can also release unwanted tannins. We'll toss that to the side. And we're going to turn up the temperature so that we're getting our wort to 212. And while you're waiting for that, make sure you put your liquid malt extract into some warm water because this stuff's pretty thick. And by placing it in the warm water, you're going to liquefy it. And for the next step, it will be a lot easier to pour out.
Okay, so now that our wort has reached a temperature of 212, we're going to move our stock pot to the burner. We're going to grab our liquid malt extract and we're going to start pouring it in. And the reason why we moved the stock pot from the burner is because we don't want it to caramelize. So we're going to slowly pour this in. Okay, so we're going to put our stock pot back onto the burner. We're going to place our hop spider in there. We're going to insert our Cascade hops. And now that we've inserted our hops, we're just going to keep an eye on it so it doesn't boil over. Okay, now that the boil is over, we've already removed our hops. And now we're going to put our pumpkin pie spice pack. Okay, so now we're going to grab our stock pot and we're going to put it in an ice bath and we're going to drop it down to a temperature of 70 degrees. And we want it down to this temperature because we don't want to kill the yeast.
All right, so we're ready to pitch our yeast. So first things first, we're going to take a wort and start getting it in the fermenter. So Joey, let's place that in.
Okay, hold that.
All right, so from this point forward, anything that's going to touch your wort, you want to make sure you're sanitizing. So now that we transferred our wort into the fermenter, we're going to spray off our yeast package and we're going to spray off our scissors. So we're adding our dry ale yeast right now. We're going to shake this up for a minute, which is going to be our aeration process. So basically what this means is that we're going to add oxygen to our wort. So what this is going to do, it's going to allow our yeast to grow and multiply, which then the new yeast is going to eat the sugars and then convert your wort and anything in there to alcohol. So let's shake this for about a minute.
What's the new R2D2P?
Oh, I fucking hate that thing, yes.
That's what it looks like. I don't know if that's how it sounds like. Right?
No, it just says go fuck yourself. All right, so the next step, for the people that are using the 1 gallon Carboy, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set up your blow-off assembly that you have a jar filled with sanitizer, and you're going to let this sit for 3 days. So you're going to swap out your blow-off assembly with an airlock that is going to be sitting there for an extra 11 days. So the fermentation for your 1 gallon Carboy is going to be 2 weeks. So just take that off, place this on. Now, for us here, we don't need a blow-off assembly. So what we're going to do, we're going to fill this off with some sanitizer, place this on top, and we're going to let that sit for 2 weeks in a cool, dark place. And then once you're done with that, we're going to start getting into our bottling phase, which once you transfer your wort into the bottles, this kit came with these Fizz Drops, and you'll drop each one of these into each individual bottles. You'll cap it, and you'll let that sit for another 2 weeks. And then after that, your beer is done. You'll be ready to drink it. Alrighty, so with this fermenter, we actually have this valve on the bottom where we can have the trub just fall to the bottom. So let's test this out for the first time. So the cool part is all the dead yeast is going to fall to the bottom, and we can easily close this off and just remove it. And in theory, it should make your beer a little bit more clear. All right, cool. So you just finished your 1 gallon of the Smashing Pumpkin kit from Northern Brewer. So do us a favor, like, subscribe, leave a comment. Tell us if we did good. Tell us if we did bad. Either way, we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot for watching. Peace.
Move the pot from the burner is so that it doesn't caramelize on the bottom.
What do you call it?
Caramelize.
Caramelize.
Caramelize or caramelize?
There's no one in the world that has ever said...
I say caramel.
But they don't say caramelize.
Bro, it doesn't even make sense. How's that ass so big but the legs are so tiny?
What?
It's like a goddamn chicken.
Yeah, I know!